Hello and welcome to Season 2, Episode 9 of Para New Orleans, the Paranormal New Orleans podcast, where we tell stories of the strange, the spooky, the scary, the unexplained, and otherworldly from across the New Orleans area, Louisiana, and beyond. I am your hostess, Fat Girl Freestyle. Thank you for joining us. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy. What would you do if you found out that someone you loved and adored was a raving maniac, a serial killer? That is my burden right now. My brother, my big brother, someone I loved and adored all my life, my protector. He taught me how to defend myself. He always watched over me. He was my hero. I'm trying to figure out if I can pinpoint when he became a monster. He's dead now, but the horror, pain, terror he caused is still lingering, haunting this space. He was killed 2 weeks ago in a car accident. And it was just him and I, so I came out to the country where he lived to settle his affairs. I I'm almost ashamed to tell you what I found, what I've experienced here, but I don't have a choice because these women were robbed of their lives, of their existence, their voices silenced in life, but in death, they are screaming. And I can hear them all. I've already called the sheriff. I told him to bring every deputy they have available. I'm just thankful that my parents aren't here anymore. This would devastate them. When I came here, I expected a completely different atmosphere. I expected to feel the loving energy of my big brother that I always felt growing up. And instead, I felt death, fear. I felt like I couldn't breathe. The first night, I couldn't sleep because of the sounds, the moaning, screams. And then there was the crying. I wasn't sure what to make of it, but I can tell you, I did not expect to be confronted by the victims of my brother's horrifying secret. I wasn't prepared to find out firsthand who he really was. I tried to sleep unsuccessfully. I was tormented by dreams of different women, each of them faces twisted in fear, screaming. I felt I felt that they knew this would be the place of their demise. And there was no hope in trying to escape. Pamela was the first victim. And I know that because she was the first one I dreamt about. The first one to make herself known to me. She was silent in the dream. Clothes tattered, skin pale, thin like she had been starved. She cried silently. And all she did in the dream was point to a door. A door that was locked with two different deadbolts, a padlock, and a sliding mechanism. I wasn't sure what it would lead me to, but I knew it was something horrible that I would never be able to forget. And then there was Ruby. She appeared in the bedroom I was sleeping in several nights in a row. And I call her Ruby because she's covered in blood every time I see her, from head to toe. And her mouth is hanging open and twisted, like a final death mask. And she screams. And I hear it both in my head and with my ears, if that makes any sense. And she too wants me to unlock that door. And then there's Emily. She appears as a fading mist. She doesn't make any noise. She just stares at me. And of course, there are more dreams filled with screams and cries. And the diabolical laughter of an evil man who I now know is my brother. I can't give you a rundown of everyone, but there souls are still trapped in this house. And I'm hoping as the sheriffs uncover their remains and they are identified and returned to their families, I hope their spirits are set free and they're able to be separated from the trauma that took them from this life. I finally found the courage to unlock that door. When I opened it, there was a cold that hit me so deep. My soul was chilled. You could smell the death, the decay, the blood, even though he had tried to clean up, you could still smell blood. I heard someone whisper, so I went. I found the light switch on the wall, and even though the space was well lit, it was still dark. Like the darkness was just eating the light. Eating the light. My brother was the darkness that consumed the light. I remember when we were little kids, I wanted to learn how to ride a bike so I could go on adventures with my big brother. And he took his time and he taught me how to ride. I fell and scraped my knee. I cried my eyes out, not because it hurt, but because I was embarrassed. I wanted to impress my big brother. And he picked me up and hugged me tight and told me that no matter what, he would always be proud of me. How could that man the one I knew and loved. How could that man be the same monster whose lair I was walking into that reeked of pain and suffering and torture? How could it be the same person? When I got to the bottom of the steps, I saw them. Shelley and Melissa and Tracy. Pale, beaten and bruised, staring at me. All three of them pointing for me to go even further into the basement. I could only imagine what it was like for them. Their final moments spent in the presence of an evil man, one who presented to the world one way, but was a completely different entity behind closed doors. I began to wonder how many times I called the phone and he didn't answer. How many times was he downstairs torturing and murdering these women? I walked further into the basement and there was another door. And as I reached for the handle, I could hear cries, the low cries that can only come with knowing that you are completely doomed. And my stomach churned. And as I reached for the handle, my fingertips turned blue as though I were reaching into a freezer. And I pulled back for a moment, thinking to myself, are you really ready to see what's behind this door? Behind me, I could feel the spirits of the women urging me forward to discover and see for myself who my brother truly was. And as I stood there, another ghost appeared. This one I knew. My best friend from high school, Samantha. She disappeared when we were in 11th grade. Everyone thought she had run off with her much older boyfriend. Her parents left to believe that their daughter just turned her back on them. I just stood there crying, knowing that my brother had taken the life of someone I cared about so much. The thought of his performance when she disappeared made my stomach churn. He comforted her parents and reassured them that she would change her mind and come back home. And the whole time, he had taken her. I opened the door and was immediately greeted. The smell so overwhelmingly awful. I had to take several steps back. The light from the room I was in illuminated just a little, just a few feet into this other room. And I could see the outlines of what looked to be mummified remains of what I knew to be several of my brother's victims. I couldn't go any further. I covered my mouth to muffle my own cries, although I'm not sure why I was trying to stay quiet. I wanted to set the place on fire right then and there. Put the entire experience behind me, but I knew that I had to do the right thing and help the souls of these women finally go into the light. The years they had been trapped here, just waiting. The amount of years they lingered here, having to watch as my brother brought victim after victim down into this chamber of horrors. I then felt another presence, another energy come into the space, and it suddenly got almost completely dark. I felt my brother's presence. I could feel that he was angry with me. I started making my way towards the stairs so that I could make the necessary phone calls. And as I looked up, I could see the form of my brother standing at the top of those stairs. I just looked at him, not surprised that even his spirit was connected here. I wasn't frightened. But I knew that if I lingered any longer, I might not be able to do the right thing. I walked up the stairs, and as I got closer to the top, my brother began to fade. When I finally reached the top step, I turned And at the bottom, looking up at me, were the ghosts, at least 10 women. I silently said in my head, they didn't have to be scared anymore. That they were being set free. I felt this huge gust of wind. And I knew that they were finally able to move on. The question was, would I be able to move on as well? I went to the phone, called, and something told me to check the desk drawer, the one in the middle. I opened it and there was a notebook. And on the cover, in my brother's handwriting, it was written, it was written, my little hobbies, as though these women were just things. I picked it up and I made my way over to the chair where I'm sitting now. I opened it and I flipped through the pages. He recorded everything: name, date of birth, where they were from, where he abducted them from, things he did, how long he kept them alive. I just put the notebook down because I didn't want to know anymore. The ghosts had told me enough. I can hear the sirens now approaching. I know it is going to take some time to investigate and gather evidence. I'm going to make sure they have access to everything they need to. And I want to make sure that these women get back to their families where they belong. And once that's all done and over with, this house, this place of horror and misery, has to go. I might just pour the gasoline and set it on fire myself. I don't know how I'm going to live with this moving forward, if I can live with this. I just want to say to people, no matter what our experience is with them, people are never truly who we think they are. I hear the car doors closing. I'm going to go now and open the door and greet them on the porch. I'm going to do my best to prepare them for what they're about to walk into. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure I can. This has been season 2, episode 9 of Paranorleans, the Paranormal New Orleans podcast. I'm your hostess, Fat Girl Freestyle. I hope you have enjoyed listening. If enjoyed is the word that I could use. Certain things make us wonder in life. And one of those things is, how well do we truly know the people we love, the people we surround ourselves with every day? Can you say beyond a shadow of a doubt that you truly know someone? Who knows? Please make sure you're following the Paranorleans podcast on Spotify. Make sure you share our episodes with your family and friends and loved ones, co-workers. Make sure you're telling the people in line at the grocery store or the post office about Paranorleans. And please also make sure you are subscribed to the Fat Girl Freestyle channel on YouTube. Make sure you're following Fat Girl Freestyle across all social media platforms. That would be Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And if you're feeling generous and you would like to support the podcast, Fat Girl Freestyle on Venmo, Chime, and fatgirlfreestyle at gmail.com on Apple Pay as well. Feel free to contact me at fatgirlfreestyle at gmail.com if you want to share your stories of the spooky, the scary, the strange, paranormal, unexplained, and otherworldly. This has been your hostess, once again, Fat Girl Freestyle. Thank you for being here. I certainly appreciate you for listening. Until next time.